having a great day. Kind of gloomy outside, so I thought I'd come in here and do my live in my one of my rooms in my house. Thought I'd do a live inside today. But again, appreciate y'all for being in here. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hope you're having a great day. Uh, Hope you're having a productive day today. Uh, if you haven't been on my channel before, welcome to Open Minded Conversations. A community of people, open minds, susceptible to listening to other people's opinion about life, whether it be their religion or things of that nature. And first of all, congratulations to the new Pope. We got a new Pope. Uh, so congratulations to him for receiving that honor, being a new Pope, Catholic Pope, papacy, however you say it. But again, congratulations to him. And, just reflecting on life, reflecting on relationships. I know yesterday I was talking about, having the right relationship, finding the right one. And this is kind of bouncing off of that ideal, uh, about relationships, about uh, not just loving relationships, if you know what I mean, but really talking about today, talking about knowing your worth. Uh, a lot of people, they get into friendships and networks and relationships, and they somewhat feel in a sense devalued in that relationship, whether it be a friend, whether it be an acquaintance, even family. Sometimes we feel like we don't have value in ourselves. We feel like we don't have value. But you have to know the things that you have to know your strengths, and you got to know your weaknesses. And the weaknesses, I feel people have to work on more. And I heard somebody once say, you got to work on your discomforts, things that you're not really good at. You got to work at those things. You can't continue working on the things that you are very good at. You know, you got to work on things that uh, you need to work on your weaknesses, and that's the only way you're gonna get better. You can't go year after year working on just the things you are good at. Because you just be good at those things, but you may be the worst at something else. And so, even with relationships, social networks or social encounters, we may be good at in a certain way, but in another way, we have to work on, uh, how do we respond to people? How do uh, we comfort people? How do we deal with certain situations? We may be uncomfortable with. Uh, just making someone's day brighter with your presence. And I think that's the main thing about uh, having value in yourself. That you make someone else's day brighter. You make someone else's day worth being. Having life. Helping. The thing is helping somebody find their purpose. They might, like I mentioned in other videos, somebody may find their purpose in you. They might find their purpose in you, and they may want to pursue. They may want to pursue their dreams because you went forth to pursue your dreams, and so it's a lot of things with that. We have to think about or consider when we're building relationships. Uh, you know, we have to self. We have to discover ourselves and what we are great at, and know our value. In life in general, we gotta discover ourselves and know our value in life. I think a lot of people go through life never realizing their purpose. They'll get to their 20s, they get to their 30s, even 40s, and they still haven't really discovered what they're good at. Of course, people have, their certain hobbies, but I think people need to discover their hobbies that's productive. Productive hobbies. I think a lot of people have hobbies that's not healthy. If you know what I mean. A lot of people have habits that are not healthy. Going out to the club every week. That's an example of a unhealthy habit. You know, you spend your money every week. You just have fun. You're not doing anything productive. You're not, discovering new things about yourself. You're not discovering new ways I can financially be free. You just go, you work, get your paycheck, and then you go to the club and you spend all your money because you kind of settle in a unproductive habit. It's a lot of people that's in unproductive habits, and they get stuck because they're so used to that habit. A habit is a very strong thing. When you become in a routine where you're not doing anything productive, and that way you never find your true purpose. You never find your true purpose in life. Just going through life, just living. You never find out what you're good at. How can you be beneficial, not to just others, but the whole world. How can you be beneficial to people, and you never discover your own purpose? So I feel there's productive habits and there's unproductive habits. Uh, I see 11 people in here. Let me know you in here. And also, if you want to contribute to this conversation, feel free to. But, you got to know your value, especially being in a relationship. You got to find your own self worth. You got to find your own self worth. How you doing, Ace Timmy? You got to know your own self worth in order to, really make it through life. A lot of people, they just jump into relationships and they don't know what they're looking for. And that's why I feel a lot of men are intimidated by a lot of women because a certain woman may have a certain amount of expectations as far as wanting to be married, want to have a committed relationship, want someone that can trust. And I feel a lot of people, even I be watching Pop the Balloon, and a lot of women come up there and they have a lot of expectations, and a lot of men are not able to handle those things. I see it more in men than women, ladies. I think a lot of ladies are women are willing to compromise in certain situations more than men. I think men, because we are more a prideful type of people, humans, uh, we're not susceptible to changing what we do, as far as our habits and our routines and how we think. We're not susceptible to changing as fast as a woman does. I think it's just part of our part of human nature that we are that way. As far as the man, us being men, as far as our species, I think uh, we have a harder time to adjust to things. Certain things. Me, from my experience being married, it was harder for me. I feel to adjust to being married. I still, uh, first few years of marriage, still thought, in a single mindset, like a single person mindset. And it took me a while to adjust to the marriage mindset. I think it takes longer for a man to do that because we so used to being on our own, doing whatever we want to. And a woman, they kind of taught at a younger age. things, around the house. They're taught things around, just generally. But a lot of men, we can be proudful at times in certain situations. And but all in all, we have to know our value, know our worth, know your value in life. Uh, know what you're worth. A lot of people, and it's sad. People go through life, and nothing wrong with 9 to 5 job. Nothing wrong with 9 to 5 job. But a lot of people just go through life and just working at jobs they have to work at, and it's nothing that they are passionate about. It's just something they have to do to make ends meet. They never take risk. They never sacrifice time to really do what they love to do. What their purpose is, and like I even mentioned before, we kind of separate the two. We kind of separate our passion with work. We can't keep doing that. We can't keep separating passion and work. I feel like a great life is combining the two. Combining your passion with uh, income. Financial freedom. I feel like that's the ultimate life right there. Combining what you love to do with what you get paid to do. You know, and I think that's especially in the African American community, we have a hard time combining those two to joining those two together. Your passion and what you work. How you work. You know, I think we have a hard time uh, seeing those two together. And so, yeah, just things I've been thinking about. If you watch this later on, leave a comment, so I know what you think about this conversation. Please subscribe to this channel. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up. Uh, if you enjoyed this conversation, this talk that I had. If you watch this later, again, appreciate y'all who tuned in. Appreciate y'all who tuned in. Hope y'all have a great, productive day. But know your worth. Know your value is to the world. Know your worth, and you'll see what happened in life. Things will get better. Things will progress. You'll see things change. You'll see your attitude change towards life. You'll take every moment of your life as precious. It seemed like yesterday I was, in high school. It seemed like yesterday I was in college, and time goes by so fast, and you waste a lot of time. And I'm speaking from that perspective because some things I feel, I've sort of, time went by, and you like I regret not doing certain things earlier in life. You'll get to that point when you get older. You're like, haven't really fulfilled everything I wanted to do yet, at this age. And certain things you may regret not doing earlier, because sometimes we take our earlier years in life, for granted. We don't just think about going straight into, we always feel like we have time to do certain things, in life. And so, again, appreciate y'all for watching. Please subscribe to this channel. Please support. If you want to support this channel, I got a Cash App $ Open Mind Convo. It's also in my link in my bio, and so the Cash App. And so again, appreciate y'all for watching. Appreciate y'all for tuning in, and appreciate y'all who enjoy these conversations. I love seeing the comments when people watch these lives back. Love doing this on this channel. Live talks. Just to be very personal with you guys about certain situations. I love motivating. I love that people are motivated. Seeing my videos, and yeah, you got to know your self-worth, knowing who you're about. Seizing moments in your life. You got to seize moments in your life. You can't just not be prepared. Season is seizing the moment is being prepared for certain moments in your life. In certain moments in your life, you like, dang, I wish I would have prepared more for that opportunity. I wish I would have prepared more for that moment, because I don't know if I would get that moment again. And so, preparation is key to knowing your value, knowing your worth, being prepared for opportunities that may change your life and change your family's life, in the future. Preparation is very important. Preparation is very important to succeeding. Uh, Preparation is very important, for seeing your life, go up. See your life progress, and you look back on your life so far and say like, oh, okay, I did that. I'm glad I took that opportunity. I'm glad I did that. I took that moment. I took advantage of that moment, and I feel great about myself that I took that moment and never, and then take it for granted. And so again, appreciate y'all for watching. Hope you have a great day. Appreciate y'all for watching this live. And please subscribe. Please subscribe. Please support this channel, $ Open Mind Convo. And until next time, peace.